Don't miss Cabela's Black Friday weekend sale. Shop for great deals on all your favorite outdoor brands, like $200 off a Vortex Viper 4-16 by 44 rifle scope, 25% off IMI 223 and 5.56 ammo, and $50 off Smith & Wesson Bodyguard pistols. Plus, get a free cooler cart with the purchase of a Cabela's Polar Cap cooler. See store for details. Find great deals for everything on their wish list. Shop in-store or online at Cabela's.com.
You're tuning in to the Goldilocks presentation of the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine Show with Anthony Rodriguez. Anthony Rodriguez, aka Walking Crow, found transformational energy healing through a personal search into healing and was transformed by this experience. He made the decision to pursue training and has since become a certified energy healing practitioner with an emphasis on working with clients in recovery from addiction. His willingness to be open and listen has allowed him to be of service to many who seek a peaceful, serene, and healthier body, mind, and spirit. Call in now if you would like to speak with Anthony. The call-in number is 713-955-0332. Enjoy this transformational and healing show.
Well, good afternoon, and welcome to the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine Show. My name is Anthony Rodriguez, Walking Crow, and I'm your host. Wow, I can't believe it's already been a week, and I can't believe we're going into the Thanksgiving holiday in just a couple of days, and then Christmas, then New Year's, and then it's 2017. What the heck happened to 2016? Doesn't matter, because we're right here, right now, and that's where we're at. Today's show, we're going to talk about faith and gratitude it takes to overcome the old self and the bad habits of beating ourselves up. Heal with us as we go into the holidays and feel good about yourself no matter your situation. Transform, transcend, transition, and transmute. So join us today. We're glad you did. And if you're out there and you're listening today, feel free to call in at 713-955-0332. Don't forget to push 1 to get out of listen mode and ask any questions you'd like. Bring in your trials, your tribulations, and even your triumphs, along with potential questions about healing. I am an energy healer. I am a certified energy healer, grounded energy healer, allowing Mother Earth energy to travel through my body, through my heart, and through my hands. And I'm here to help you transform your life into a life that you should have been living a long time ago, you want to be living, and help you transform from that place that's just been a tough place to be for quite some time. I understand, I know, I've had to do the same thing. It's a continual practice for me. Sometimes it doesn't get easier, it gets harder. And, and when it gets hard, somebody shows up with cupcakes to say, I was thinking of you, which actually happened yesterday. So, welcome again to the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine Show. Anthony Rodriguez here, Walking Crow. And, what's going on with you today? What is it, and how do you remain in faith and gratitude, And because it takes a lot of that to overcome the old self and the bad habits of beating ourselves up. And, a lot of us have spent a lot of years beating ourselves up because that's what we learned. We learned that from parents, we learned that from people who speak to us in ways that aren't so kind, and and not because they mean harm, but more than anything, because they don't know any better. That's what they've been taught, and that kind of behavior is passed down from generation to generation to generation. And I'm here to tell you that you don't have to pass it on to your kids. You don't have to pass it on to any more of your families. You don't have to pass it on to anybody or anything. You can stop the buck right here, right now, and you can change your life. How do you want to change your life, and can you change your life? I'm telling you, yes, you can. I'm telling you right here, right now, you can change your life. What is it you're wanting to do different? A lot of times, or most times, if not all the time, it's the way you speak to yourself, the way I speak to myself. speaking to myself in a way that's good for me, not in a way that's detrimental, not in a way that develops poor self-esteem. I live in my third chakra, and I stand in my third chakra, and I live and I stand in it. When I say, my name's Anthony J. Rodriguez, I'm walking crow. Aho, I'm here. I am here right here, right now. And you can too. I guarantee you can. I'm looking forward to this week. A lot of gratitude. I've been posting every day a message every day about gratitude, and gratitude looks different to different people. People want to go outside and say, "Oh, I'm grateful for the flowers. I'm grateful for my job. I'm grateful for this and that." But I'm grateful for quiet thoughts. I'm quiet. I'm grateful for the quiet times the Creator gives me before sunrise. I'm grateful for cupcakes showing up at my door. Yesterday I was feeling lower than I have felt in a long time, and the doorbell rang. And I could see, I was upstairs and I could look down and see a little white box out on the porch. And I went down there. It was my neighbor from 2 doors down. And she was here to make my day. She didn't know that I was feeling blue. She didn't know that I was feeling down. But there she was, and I hugged her and I thanked her. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for good neighbors, and I'm grateful for bad neighbors. But there are no bad neighbors. There are just different neighbors, We're not all the same. We don't all have the same upbringing, the same tools, the same God, the same Creator. We don't all have the same whatever. So, I was blessed yesterday, and I got to just, relish in that. And my day didn't get any easier, but there it was, in gratitude. And what am I grateful for today? Boy, what am I grateful for today? I can think of a million things. I can think of, the gardener's not here today blowing through the courtyard here with the blower, and I'm grateful for people who come into my life and move on from my life, and I thank them for coming and, whether they've been good in my life or not. And I thank those who've been good in my life for coming and going, and those who have been different in my life, and I'm grateful. I want to give a shout out to my beautiful producer, Tiffany White, and say thank you to a beautiful soul. She allows me to be here on the air and speak to you and heal with you, and she's given me and afforded me the opportunity to stand in my root, stand in my connection to others, stand in my fire, stand in my love for what I do and for you, and stand in my voice and stand in my knowing, and to stand with my Creator, Aho Mitakiyasi, through the chakra system, from the root to the shoot, if you will, to the very top of the head, and and I'm grateful, Tiffany, for all you do for me, and all you do for all the folks that have a radio station, Goldilocks Productions. They're all blessings, and they're all blessed, and there are many people around the world that get to tune in and listen to what we have to say, and we're all grateful to you. I know that I speak for many. Okay, so how do you want to heal today? How do you want to move forward from that place of the old self, of beating yourself up for a myriad of reasons and a myriad of ideas and a myriad of lessons and a myriad of not knowing, not knowing that we're able to transform, transcend, transition, and transmute. What is a situation that you're in right now that you'd like to heal from, that you'd like to move forward from, that you would like to be able to walk through with dignity and grace? Dignity and grace. It's hard to walk through dignity and grace when you've got a toothache. It's hard to walk through dignity and grace when you don't have the co-payment for the toothache. It's hard to do that. It's hard to walk through dignity and grace when the holidays are here and your loved ones are far away and you don't have the money to go there, or your loved ones are close by and you don't have the self-esteem to show up because pride gets in your way. What is it that you want to overcome? How is it that you want to do it? I'm going to ask you to call in. I'm going to ask you to call in to 713-955-0332 and push one to get out of listen mode. There was a gentleman from the 510 area code last week that called in and he pushed the button by accident. But you know what? We all got some medicine last week from this man who, pushed one by accident, and I thank him for that. I thank him for dialing in and listening in. I'm grateful. I know that people are out there listening. People are looking to heal. People are looking to change their lives. I'm grateful for Jackie, who called in 2 weeks ago because she feels her son needs healing, and she wants healing in her household. And I hope that she found a way to hug her son when he comes in the house or when she comes in the house. Because I know that promotes healing, that promotes family, that promotes connection. Mom, why are you hugging me? Because I feel like it. Because you're my son. Because I'm your mother. And Jackie, thank you for calling in a couple of weeks ago. I remember the name. I remember the names. I remember who you are. I remember your area codes. I'm surprised too. You can tell that I don't drink. I remember lots of things. Anyways, I would like you to check me out on my sacreddrum24.weebly.com. That's my website. If you want to reach out to me and get a 20-minute consultation, free consultation, you can reach out to me at Anthony at sacreddrummedicine.com, or you can call me at 818-442-1717. I take all phone calls, all emails, and I answer all as well. Once again, today we're talking about giving thanks, and being in faith and gratitude. And the faith and gratitude it takes to overcome the old self and the bad habits of beating ourselves up. I spent a lifetime beating myself up for not being able to meet the expectations of others, and they were unfair expectations, and they were unspoken expectations as well as they were spoken expectations. And I tried and I tried and I tried and I tried to live up to what it was they wanted from me, and I failed miserably. Thank God. I failed miserably because they tried to take my voice away. They tried to take my thought away. They tried to take my heart away. They tried to take my self-esteem away. And they did for a long time. But thank God for God. Thank God for Creator Great Spirit. Thank God for Mateo, duality of the divine feminine and divine masculine. This is my left hand. This is the hand of the divine feminine. This is the hand of receiving. This is my right hand. This is the hand of the divine masculine. This is the hand of giving and moving forward. How do you want to receive and how do you want to move forward? Can you receive and can you move forward? And you're willing to accept the duality in your life of who you are as the divine feminine, divine masculine. Are you willing to and can you? I am willing. I have become willing to accept who exactly I am and what I am. A whole. I was reading snake medicine this morning, and the snakes are entwined, and they represent healer. And each of the snakes, there's two of them, with regard to snake, serpent, there's two of them because they represent both dualities, divine feminine and divine masculine, and they make up who I am as a healer, who I am as a medicine man, who I am as shaman, who I am as Anthony J. Rodriguez, walking crow. And I step into my medicine every day. When I get on the air and speak with you and about you and to you, and when I step into my healing practice with my clients, when I step into a workshop by myself or with others, I step into my duality of self, the duality of healer, the duality of medicine man, the duality of crow, wolf, duality of owl medicine, duality of eagle, duality of hawk. Aho, mitakiyase. Aho. Aho. I'm he who notices. I'm he who understands. I'm he who sees. What do you notice? What do you see about yourself? What do you hear about yourself? Do you take time to stop and listen and be quiet and listen to the silent voice inside? Not the voices. Not the voices that people like to call monkey mind, but the voice, the silent voice of Creator, Great Spirit, Aho. The quiet voice of your spirit guide, the quiet voice of your spirit animal or animals. What is that voice? What does it say to you? How does it speak? Or does it? Do you know how to tap into that? Can you tap into that? If you haven't, there's a way to. There's a way to tap into that. You can go to my Facebook page, to all my events, and you can find out how. You can come to those journey drum meditations. I call them journey drum meditations because I'm not even sure what to call it. And you can come and you can do just that. I drum for 25 minutes. and give you a place and a space for you to go to the lower world, to seek out your spirit guide, to seek out your spirit animal, a whole, and get answers and get healings. Or if you need to, the middle world or the upper world, a whole. A whole. What is it you seek? What is it you're looking for? How do you want to stop beating yourself up? I would say bite your tongue, but biting your tongue is abusing yourself. So I would ask to just hold your tongue. You know, run something by somebody else before you say it about yourself again. You know, I will be the first person to say, stop talking to yourself that way when you call yourself dumb, when you call yourself a failure, when you call yourself stupid. I know what it is to call myself those things. But I also know what it is to stand right here, right now, or sit right here, right now, and be in my power, and look out the window in the blue at the blue sky and the trees and the squirrels that are up and down the trees, and appreciate and understand that I have been given a gift. You have been given a gift. How is it you want to use that gift? Do you want to use it beating yourself up? I say no. Oh, I say no. Do you want to use that gift to love your kids? Do you want to use that gift to love your wife? Do you want to use that gift to love your husband, your partner, your mate, your mother, your father, your children? Oh, what is it? How is it you want to use that gift? How is it you want to heal? Do you want to recover from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body? What are the things you offer yourself with regard to recreation that are actually detrimental to your health, like alcohol, like cigarette smoke, like vape, like pot, like recreational drugs? And they call them recreational, but there's nothing recreational about them. For most people who use those substances, you're just masking the problem. You know, you're prolonging the healing of the issue in the tissue. And what is the issue in the tissue that you want to heal? Where does it lie? Does it lie in your heart space where you don't feel loved? Does it lie within your lungs, air, heart, a hole? I'm loved. I don't have the capacity to love. Which is it? What do you want? Do you have trouble reaching out and asking for help? Because that's where we reach out from, a hole. You know, is your fire not burning as bright as you would like it to, your third chakra? You know, where is the issue in your tissue and how does it lie? Are you unable to connect with others, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's at a job, whether it's in your household, with your loved ones, your children, your wife, your spouse, your friends, your neighbors? Where does it lie in your body? Where does the issue in the tissue lie? Is it in your root, where your soil is thin, where your roots don't go deep, and you're afraid of being knocked over by the next wind? You know, what are you not willing to let go of? Oh, direction of the west, direction of the woman, direction of autumn, direction of fall, direction of letting go. Oh, preparing for earth, preparing for rest. In the wintertime. What is it you're not willing to let go? What is it you're not willing to let go? I have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. How can you recover? I would like to help you. Give me a call at 713-955-0332. We'd like to hear from you. You can just push 1 to get out of listen mode. I'd like to talk to you and hear what you have to say. You know, even if you call in by accident, I don't care. You know, I don't care. So, you know, you'll be going to visit your family and friends later this week on Thursday, you know, and then move into Black Friday. You know, everybody's getting hyped up for Black Friday. And there are people out there feeling blue and feeling bad because they don't have the money to spend for gifts that people don't really need. People, I don't know if anybody's waiting for a gift. I'm not. You know, I receive my gifts daily. When I open my eyes and I breathe, I'm like, thank you, Creator, for another day. You know, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the darkness. I'm grateful for the light. I'm grateful for the rain that fell this week. We got a day of rain this week that was just amazing. It just didn't sprinkle for a couple of minutes like it normally does here in LA, in California. We got a full day of rain, and it was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. You know, people were slipping and sliding and not knowing how to drive. That's okay. You know, it was the first rain of the year, and wow, what a blessing. Everything's greener, everything's brighter, everything grows as it should. And I have been watered and I have been nurtured. How do you want to be nurtured? How do you want to be watered? Do you know how to water yourself? Do you know how to nurture yourself? Do you know how to rest when it's time to rest? Do you know, will you eat when it's time to eat? When you're thirsty, will you drink water or something that's good for you? Will you give yourself good things? Will you give yourself good things? Will you give yourself good spiritual practices? What are the good spiritual practices that you would like to give yourself? Do you need help to do that? Would you like help to do that? Because there's meetups and there's people out there that would like to help you, that I know they do it because they don't like to do it alone either. And if you don't want to do it alone, give me a call and let me know. Maybe we can do it together on the phone. Maybe we could do it together on Skype. Maybe we could do it together right here, right now on this radio show. This is a Transformational Sacred Drum Radio Medicine Show. And I welcome you. My name is Anthony Rodriguez Walking Crow, and we are here to heal. We are here to heal. Heal with us. And go into the holidays and feel good about yourself, no matter your situation. What is your situation? No matter what your situation, you can transform, you can transcend, you can transition, you can transmute. I know you can because I can, I do, and I will. I can, I will, I can, and I do. Pick an order, you know. Either way, pick an order. And, you know, how do you want to heal, you know? I was concerned about creating this big meal for my wife and our kids. And their friends, and and the fact of the matter was, I've been unemployed for a couple of years, and I've been working as a healer, and that hasn't been going so great. And the workshops and the whatnot haven't been going so great. But as faith would have it, not fate, faith. I got a call from my sister, and she said, "Hey, come on over." I said, "No, I don't have to make a whole bunch of stuff. I can just make a couple of things, and show up and be of service, But the medicine is I've become willing to do it all if I have to, because my family deserves that. My wife's children deserve that. They're 21 and 28, and they're beautiful kids, and they're smart, and they go to school, and they're studied, and they have great jobs, and I want to do that for them because they deserve it. Their mom deserves it, and I deserve it. So wow, and that's how you heal. That's how I heal. Stepping up to the plate. Picking up the bat and actually stepping up to the plate and taking a few swings, whether they're balls or strikes, and working for the best. Not wishing for the best, not waiting for the best, but working for the best. Because this healing takes work. It just doesn't magically happen. There just isn't a magic pill that you take and one day you wake up and your life is better. These are steps that we take. These are many steps that we take. There are many breaths. There are many prayers. There are many wishes. There are many good deeds for others. There are many received good deeds. But there are many steps towards a better life that start with, how do I speak to myself right here, right now? And am I right here, right now, in my body, in my feet, in my root? Am I a well-rooted tree? Am I well-grounded? That the issues in life, I'm so grounded that the issues in life don't push me over. Don't push me over the edge. They don't force me or push me to do things that force me to or allow me to hurt myself or wish I would. No, it's not the case. That's not what happens. I turn to my wife and I let her know how I feel. I turn to my friends and say, it's not okay. Right here, right now, it's not okay. I turn to my elders and I look to them for advice and guidance. I look to my teachers, my masters, and my shamans, and I say, help me, because that's how I got to point B. And I will continue to get to point B if I continue to do these things. What is it you need help with? What is the question, the burning question, or the burning desire that you have that you feel like you can't get from point A to point B? What is the hurdle that's possibly in your way? What are the many stones that you have built up between you and others, you and yourself, you and God, you and your Creator? What are the stones that you piled up and built a fence around yourself? I remember as a little child kicking against a stone wall I built around myself. And I'm bringing up the subjects of last shows because all of this is tied together. There isn't just no one title for and one thing for one show. All the shows that I do talk about the same thing. They talk about yours and my healing. They talk about yours and my walk. We talk about the things we say to ourselves, the things we are to ourselves, the things we are to others. Not having to live up to the spoken and unspoken expectations of others. You don't have to do that by buying a bunch of presents that you go into debt for on credit cards at 18%. You don't have to do that. You don't have to go into debt because you think you're obligated to buy people stuff that they don't need. America is screwed because of that, you know. And there's a lot of corporate goofs that are just counting their cash because they know we're coming. They know that people are already in the stores over at who knows where, and the decorations are up, and the music's playing, and it's non-stop up until the 24th of December. You know, we'll be running around trying to live up to the expectation, unspoken, spoken. You know, what is it? What kind of gift would you like to receive? Why don't you give yourself the gift of freedom, the gift of peace, the gift of serenity, the gift of learning to meditate and sit still and be quiet instead of living in the rat race that media and social media creates for us. You know, I'm on social media a lot, but I don't read it all. I read what I want to read. I post what I want to post, and I get off. You know, I'm not looking to see who's going to respond to what I have to say because I really don't care. And there are those who respond, and it's like, you know, they feel like they need to teach somebody something, and that's good, I guess. But you know, be careful with the information that you give to others because, you know, when you do what you do and others know what they know, what you say and what you do don't walk in tandem. You know what I'm saying? And they say that in Alcoholics Anonymous. They say, you know, I don't care what you're saying. I want to see how you walk. You know, so and that's really important. You know, 713-955-0332. Call in. Push 1 to get out of listen mode. This is the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine Show. I'm Anthony Rodriguez, and I'm Walking Crow, and I'm your host. I'm your host for a show about faith and gratitude, the faith and gratitude it takes to overcome of our old self and the bad habits of beating ourselves up. How have you been beating yourself up? Are you willing to tell on yourself that you beat yourself up? Chances are no. You know, but other people, you know, other people do it to themselves too. So if you told somebody, it wouldn't be a surprise. You know, and they were probably empathetic, and they would probably hug you and say, you know what can I do for you? That's what I would do. You know, that's what I would do for you. I would be empathetic and ask you what you need. You know, whether I can live up to the request or not. You know, it's not always easy. So how do you want to heal? How would you like to heal? You can start by sitting quietly, putting your feet flat on the floor. This is one of my favorite exercises. It doesn't take money. It doesn't take going to a studio. It doesn't take a guru. It doesn't take any of the things that you see on social media that a lot of people say it takes. You know, you don't have to pay $150 for it. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to do anything. You just have to be in your chair and put your feet on the floor and allow yourself to be. And take a breath in and exhale. And take a second breath. Where do you feel it? Land in your body and exhale. What does it feel like? Where did it land? How does it feel to you? Take another breath. Where does the breath land? It landed in my chest cavity, in my heart space, my fourth chakra. I'm loved. I'm loved. I have the capacity to love. I have the capacity to be loved. Heart, air, lungs. What is it I want to fill my heart space with? The goodness of being loved and nurtured and cared for? Or, you know, not the inability to ask for those things, but give myself, you know, tobacco or pot or vape or any of those harmless substances that we put into our body that are fleeting and don't serve. They're fleeting and they don't serve. I use tobacco, but I use tobacco ceremonially. I use it to make offerings to the four directions. I use it to make offerings to Great Spirit, to Mother Earth, Aho, Grandfather Sun, Father Sky, Aho, Grandmother Trees, grandmothers and grandfathers and stone people, Aho, spirit animals and the spirit guides. That's what I use tobacco for. I use it in a good way. And if you smoke it, that's none of my business. But if you smoke it, it's your business. And it's your business to, what is it you're going to give yourself? I would ask you to ask yourself, why am I smoking this? There was a young man on one of the sites, on one of the group sites, that said he's been out smoking for 2.5 weeks, and I'm proud of him. I don't even know him. I don't even know his name right now, but I'm very proud of him because he's giving himself something that he hasn't been able to give himself for a long time. Full capacity, full breath of air to his lungs, to his third chakra, to his second chakra, because connection to others is connection to self. Aho mitakiyase, aho, his place of healing, aho. And he's given himself that breath. And he's going to fill those lungs with capacity. And my prayer for him is that he would continue on, that he would find a way to love himself and ask for love. And I believe that him posting the fact that he hasn't been smoking for 2.5 weeks today is a way of reaching out and asking for love, because people have been sending him messages of praise all day. And God bless him. And God bless them. And God bless me for noticing that post, because like I said, I don't read everything on social media. I don't want to. There's so much poison out there. And that's another way that I care for myself. It's another way that I heal myself. It's another way that I transform, transcend, transition, transmute. I don't give myself poison. Would you drink poison? I say this to people all the time. Would you drink poison? No. Then why do you talk to yourself that way? Why do you do that to yourself? Why do you give yourself those things? There is a way because there is a will. Aho. And there is a will and a way. How do you want to heal? I know you can heal. I've been watching people heal since I became a healer 5 or 6 years ago. And I've been able to assist in that healing. Aho. I've been able to assist and be a part of that. I am so blessed. I got to watch my wife heal and step into her power, and she's watching me go through what I'm going through right now. I'm having a tough time. But my biggest supporter right here, right now, is that little 4'11" pint-sized beautiful woman that stands by me. We've had our trials and our tribulations, but they're not our trials and our tribulations. They're other things that have gotten in the way of us, and we are here, right now, standing in our power, standing in our love for each other, standing in our faith for each other. And I believe in her, and she most certainly believes in me, and I'm so grateful for her. I am so grateful that she would, that she's there every morning when I wake up and every night when I go to sleep, and I'm thankful. And that's proof that I'm healing, that's proof that I've come a long way. I'm grateful, I don't need to be looking around to see what's out there, what's happening, get myself in trouble with it. And it's not necessary, It's not necessary. We get to heal with the ones we love. We get to heal with the ones we hurt. We get to heal with the ones that hurt us. We get to heal. I get to heal. I have the faith and the gratitude it takes, to overcome my old self. My old self creeps in every now and again, but my new self says, nope, sorry, buddy, you got to go. You can't stay here. You're not that you're not welcome anymore, not that my old self is welcome, but I had to learn how to remember who I am. I had to become undomesticated, and I continue to work on undomesticating myself right here, right now. I'm reading the 5 agreements again. I have my circulo, my men's group from my men's lodge, my sweat lodge, ceremonial lodge. We read that book together one day out of the month, and then we share. But I continue to read it away from them and read it in a way that I understand, a way that helps me heal. And I'm grateful for Don Luis Miguel Ruiz for his insight and his teachings in the Toltec ways. and the mitote doesn't live in my head. And when the mitote lives in my head, mitote is the big noise, big crowd that's making noise. Mitote is a Nahuatl word. Nahuatl is an indigenous language from the lands of Mexico, from the Mexica, Aho. And when the big mitote, when the big noise comes up, there are ways to silence it. There are people to call. There are things to do. I spent a little time before the show today drumming. And did I drum for any particular reason? Yes. I drum because you know what? I've been feeling not so great this week, and I know when I connect with my spirit guides and create a great spirit and all the spirits, the nations in the spiritual realm, that I get better. I heal. It's something more to do instead of planting myself in front of CNN or whatever NN or whatever it is BC that you're giving yourself, that you're poisoning yourself with. I don't want to give myself that poison. I don't watch television. I don't listen to the constant chatter that goes on out there about how terrible the world is. Because yes, there are some terrible things that happen in the world, but they're not always happening, and they're not happening to me right here, right now. Are they happening to you right here, right now? A whole question I ask you. 713-955-0332. My name is Anthony Rodriguez, Walking Quo, and this is a Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine Show. How do you want to heal? How do you want to transform, transcend, transition, and transmute? Aho. Aho. How do you want to heal for the holidays and feel good about yourself, no matter what your situation is? How do you want to go into the next month and a half, actually, of holidays and holiday cheer and and how do you want to avoid the holiday depression and the holiday blues and the holiday I don't haves and they have and comparing yourself to others? First off, don't compare yourself to anybody else, because they don't know the riches that you may have. Like, people don't know the riches that I have. There are people who do. I hope. My beautiful producer Tiffany says, she always lets me know how grateful she is for me, and I'm grateful to hear that. Because I become willing too quickly to walk in my failures, what look like failures, and they're not failures. The fact of the matter is, whenever I show up, and when I show up, I'm a winner. I'm a doer. I'm a beer. I'm in my being. I'm in my doing. And people know that they can depend on me. They know that I'm going to be there. Unfortunately, here we go. I had to cancel one of my drumming, my journey drumming yesterday or last night because I took a position job, and it said that I couldn't be there, so I had to cancel. And I was just broken about doing that. About letting people know that I wasn't going to be there was not easy for me, because they depend on me. They know that I'm going to be there, even when they don't show up for themselves. Even when they don't show up, they know that I'm there. Because I'm always there. And people, I don't know where I was. I was at a thing on Saturday, and they asked, what? Tell me something about yourself. And I said, when people can depend on me, they know that I'm going to be there when I say I'm going to be there. And I feel burdened when I don't show up or I can't be there. Because I'm a man of my word. Palabra, word. Palabra is the Spanish word for word. And whenever I say the word palabra, and you hear me say it, I'm about to speak. I say palabra or word because what I'm about to say is truth, my truth, maybe not your truth, because your truth is none of my business. That's what I learned from the 4 and 5 agreements. Your truth is none of my business. My truth is my business. So I say the word palabra or word and pause, because I know with what I'm going to say next, I can't take it back, and I'm going to have to stand in it. I'm going to have to be that. What did I just say? What did he just say? Yeah, he said it. And I'm willing to say the things that I say because I have walked through life and walked through the experiences of how to get from point A to point B when it was not so easy, or when it was easy. It's like running up the field with a football and trying to get to the end zone, and dudes are after you. They're going to knock your head off or knock your legs off from under you. And it's like, life is like that. But as long as we have the ability to keep moving and to show up and get into the huddle and hike again, life is going to be good. Aho. 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 How do you want to transform? How do you want to transcend? How do you want to transition? How do you want to transmute? And what does it mean to do those things? The 4 T's. Well, first off, you have to show up for yourself and stop listening to the chatter. Change the chatter. Change the channel. Change the chatter. I have a teacher, Emma Molina Enriquez. She helps me to change my words and to use words in a playful way that helps me to see things differently. Oh, and I'm grateful for her. We usually spend every Wednesday walking over in the lower Arroyo at the Rose Bowl, amongst God's creatures, the birds, brothers and sisters that fly, my brothers and sisters that crawl, my brothers and sisters that walk, and no brothers and sisters that swim around there unless there's a little lake there that I don't know about. And we get to spend the day, and she teaches me in a new way. Oh. And then I have another teacher, Master Seal. He's a kahuna from Hawaii. And every couple of weeks, we used to have lunch every week, but every couple of weeks we have lunch. And we sit down and we talk about the things we need to talk about. And I never know what that's going to be. He always asks me a surprising question, and I always answer how my heart is moved to answer. And I think sometimes he's surprised, but and not at what my words, but more than anything at my bravery and my willingness to speak my truth. Because not everybody is. People will sometimes, they coat their truth. I don't coat my truth. My truth is my truth. And then I have another teacher named Jeannie Love. Aho. Jeannie Love is an amazing shaman, amazing healer. Aho. Healer of the earth. Aho. And she helps me to see things that I'm not able to see with my regular eyes. She helps me to use my spirit eyes, my third eye, my heart space, to see the things necessary. There are so many friends. There are so many helpers. Do you have friends and helpers? How do you want to help yourself? 713-955-0332. Call in. Push 1 to get out of listen mode. I know you're out there listening. You're out there snickering. Did you say that? I want to honor a couple of people. 3 of them, actually. I want to honor a gentleman, a young man named Rudy. I call him Root T, Rooty. And he's been going through life's challenges. And I know he's out there listening because he always listens. And I want to commend him and I want to honor him for showing up for himself and his children. And even showing up, for himself and his children. He has shown me what it is to persevere. He has shown me what it is to walk through it despite the outcome. And I want to honor a friend of mine named Rosendo Ruiz, who is he's a friend and he's a client, and he's a teacher. He teaches children and he's become a counselor, and he sees the hardships that people live through and how they show up in our children, with regard to violence and hurt and pain. And I want to honor him for stepping into his power and stepping into a different position and stepping out of his comfort zone and doing what it is, the work that he's doing for children of parents that don't have the capacity or the ability to show up for them. I want to thank you, Rosendo. And I want to honor my friend Tanya Rivas. She shows up for her kids. She shows up for her parents and her family. She shows up for herself. She shows up for her fellow employees. And she stepped out of her shell, and she stepped out of herself, and she left the country and went to Peru on her own by herself, which was a part of her healing, a part of her knowing that this is what she had to do, to soar and become. She became the butterfly. She transcended and transmuted from being a caterpillar to go into the chrysalis and the cocoon, and come out, extended, beautiful, orange, black, golden wings. And she flew to Peru, and she soared, and she came back. And it was because she went that my friend Rosendo went. because he was encouraged by her courage. He was encouraged by her courage, and he went as well. And these two showed me something that you can, and you will, and you do when you show up for yourself. And I commend you. And Ruti, God bless you, all three of you. And I thank my masters and my teachers and my shamans, because they show me every day. And there's people out there that I haven't mentioned, and it's a time of gratitude. And I want to mention my mother. My mother has been a single mom for the last 25 years, September 6th, since my dad crossed over. And she's been, it hasn't been easy for her, but here she is. She's here, and she's an example for us, and she works for us, and she works in showing us how to be better people, better human beings. And I thank her for her teachings and her lessons, along with my aunts and uncles and all those that have been a part of my life, and even up to most recently. There's so many people out there in the world that they've shared with me and allowed me to share with them. What is it that you want to heal? How do you want to heal? What do you have to share? If you think you have nothing to share, that's probably when you have the most to share. Because you don't know who's feeling the way you're feeling right now. You don't know who's down on themselves. You don't know who's down on their luck. You don't know who's down on anything. But if you speak it and you say it, so there is somebody out there that's going to say, you know what, me too. I feel the same way. I didn't know that anybody else felt that way. And I know this to be true because that's me. I hear people say, me too. Me too? You too? Me too. So, look, I'm going to ask that you look me up. sacreddrum24.weebly.com. Go to my website and go through all the pages. And what is it that's there that interests you, that piques your interest? I also have sage, and I sell sage. I give sage away, but I sell sage, and it's beautiful. And I harvest it myself and offer tobacco and do ceremony over it. And if that's something that you want, feel you need to clear your space, clear energies, to start to bring balance, reach out to me and pick some of that sage up. And, it won't cost you probably more than $21 or $22 to get it to you, for the sage, and to get it to you as well. So look at my website and look at my web pages and see what it is that you need. Do you need a healing? Do you need to come in for a session? Do you need mentoring? Because I am a body, mind, spirit transformational mentor. I help people to transition, to transform, to transmute, to transcend, themselves and their old life. What is it you want to do? How is it that you want to change? How is it that you can change your speak? I carry on my license, and if you look at my license, I'm 238 pounds, and if you look at me in person, I'm 160 pounds. And one of the things that I learned that I didn't have to do was I didn't have to carry my shame and my burdens and my hurts and my wounds around anymore. And I carried them around like armor. They were the stones that I built around myself, the wall that I built around myself. They were the things that kept me separate from you. They were the things that kept me separate from God, from Creator, Great Spirit, from Mateo, Aho. They were the things that kept me separate from me. And I no longer have to carry those wounds and burdens around and traumas. It's not necessary. I have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. You can too. How do you want to do that? Give me a call, 818-442-1717, or reach out to me at Anthony@sacreddrummedicine.com. Get a 20-second consultation. What's it going to cost you but 20 minutes? What's it going to cost you but dialing the phone? What's it going to cost you but a conversation with me? What's it going to cost you but allowing me to be with you and your wounds and say, me too, I'm here for you? What's it going to cost? What is it that you want? Reach out to me also. Call into the show. Ask a question, 713-955-0332. My name's Anthony Rodriguez, Walking Crow. And this is the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine Show. And if you're listening, I'm going to ask you to do something with me. I'm going to ask you to put your feet on the floor, and one more time, we're going to take a breath. So take a breath deep. Take it down to your feet, and exhale. What do you see behind your eyelids? What do you see in the darkness? Take one more breath. And exhale. What do you feel? What is it you hear? Who can you see? Who's there? And one more time. Inhale. To your feet, to your second chakra. Feel your body. And exhale. How ready are you? Are you ready? Can you give yourself something new? Will you allow yourself to give something new? You know, there are some. I see things on social media that I really would like to not see, but I see them because they're the examples to me of what I don't want for myself. And they're the messages from those people who are just angry and bitter about where their life is at, and they're disappointed. And I get to hear and see the disappointment in them of others. You know, we disappoint. Many of us seem to disappoint because, you know, these people have spoken and unspoken expectations of how we're supposed to be or how they're supposed to be and how life is supposed to be and what is and what isn't. You know, it's hard to live in the suburbs, you know, when you're from the ghetto, you know, because we have these ideas of what is and what isn't. And I'm here to tell you it isn't and it won't be, you know. Allow people to be who they are. Allow people to live in their skin. Allow people to live in their shell if they so choose to do that. It's not for me to make up their minds for them. It's not for me to judge them constantly or judge me constantly because I have the inability to love or to be loved. And or I've just forgotten that there's people in this world that love me. I know there's people in this world that love me. You know, I know that. You know, there's people who reach out to me. You know, like I said, I mentioned my wife earlier. I get to wake up to my beautiful wife, and I get to be friends with my friend at Insights with Audrey. You know, Audrey Cortez. She's an amazing medium, and we help each other to heal. You know, we traded healings one day, and I ended up a couple of days later going to Mount Shasta to do a cleansing. You know, I drove 11 hours one way, you know, and it was something else. It was 1,200 miles round trip. But I did it, you know, because that's what I needed. That's what I wanted. That's what I was told to do, and I'm willing to listen. I listen to those who say, Anthony, go, do, you know, and I'm thankful for those who give me the opportunity. What is it that you want to heal? What is it that you want to transcend? How is it you want to transform? You know, when is it you want to transition? And to what do you want to transmute? Do you want to be the butterfly who flies freely from flower to flower? And by the way, butterflies fly from flower to flower, and flowers hold the highest vibration on earth. And even more so, I think roses more than anything. But they hold the highest vibration on earth. Man, I wish I was like a hummingbird and a butterfly. I could just spend my day in that energy, you know, in that energy. But you know what? I'm not a butterfly. Oh, yes, I am. And I am not a hummingbird. Yes, I am. And I can't go to the flowers and be with that energy, but I can create my energy, my own energy, and change my energy with hummingbird medicine, you know, and butterfly medicine. And the other medicines, you know, wolf, serpent, snake, you know, bear, elk, deer, I honor those medicines, and they help me to change. They help me to transition, transmute, transcend, transform, because this is what I seek. This is what I want. I have become undomesticated, and I go to the spirit world when I look for medicine, my medicine, because that's where my medicine lives. Spirit of others. In the spirit of experience, in the experience of in the spirit of change. You know, how do you want to change, or do you want to change? You know, now give me a call, 713-955-0332. Push 1 to get out of listen mode. My name's Anthony Rodriguez, Walking Crow, and this is Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine Show. And I'm here to help you change. I'm here to help you transform. I'm here to help you heal. And if I can't help you directly, I will refer you to somebody who can help you, because those are some of the medicines that I have and that I know. of reference, of referring. There are so many of us out here, so many of us light workers out here who are willing to help you. But what is it that you need? What is it that you need? We're coming up to the end of the show in about 6 minutes, but no matter. 713-955-0332. Give me a call. What area code are you in? What is that you want to know? Do you need a chakra reading? Allow me to ask you the questions to pull the thread of the sweater that needs to be unraveled. Allow me to help you to unravel that sweater. What is it that you need? Do you need a soul retrieval? Allow me to help you get to the flashpoint where X happened and to change your life in another direction from that point forward. What is it you want to heal? How is it you want to heal? When is it you want to heal? With who is it that you want to heal? Help yourself and help me to help you. I'd like to help you. I've been able to help myself with the help of others, and I didn't know that I could do that. I did not know how to ask for help as a younger man. I didn't know that I could. I didn't know that I should. I didn't know that I would. I didn't trust anybody. I had trust issues. And I guess to a degree I still have trust issues. But guess what? Here I am. I trust a creator that I believe in. I trust the spirit world. I trust the animal spirits. I trust saints that I can't see. I trust archangels that I sometimes see. I trust the grandmothers and the grandfathers in my lineage and for generations and eons. I trust them because I have become willing to take the next step. I have become willing to receive left hand, divine feminine, left hand of receiving. I have become willing to give divine masculine, right hand, hand of moving forward, hand of giving. I have become willing. You can too. What is it you're willing to do? What is it you're willing to ask? What is it you're willing to say? How is it that you're willing to feel? And are you willing to stand in your body and be in your body as you go through the feelings that can sometimes be torturous, that can sometimes be hurtful, that can sometimes be so intense that I don't know what I'm going to do next. But I will stand with you because there are those that stood with me. I will help you. It's okay to feel those feelings. I felt them yesterday. My wife watched me go through it. And here I am. I come out the other side always. And in a better way than when I went in, because I know that I can do this. I know that I can do it. That's how I got to point B. That's how I got to this radio show. The Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine Show with myself, Anthony J. Rodriguez Walking Crow. That's how I got here. I was willing to say yes when somebody asked. When my friend Ingrid Turner asked me if I would do her inaugural show, I said, she sure will. And I didn't know what I would say. I didn't know what I would do. I didn't know what we would talk about. But she just asked me about me. What a beautiful thing. I'm going to have her on this show real soon because I owe it to her because she's just a beautiful human being. Her and her son, Joey. Great folk. Anyway, so Thanksgiving's upon us. People will be coming over and going to and fro to relatives' homes, to friends' homes, and sharing time, sharing food, sharing fellowship. I'm going to ask you, if you're listening to this show and you're going to somebody's house, I'm going to ask you to drop my name at that house. Say, have you heard of Anthony Rodriguez Walking Crow? He's got this show called the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine Show. You should hear what he has to say. He's so crazy. Well, don't say that, but, Anyways, when you get to where you're going on Thursday and even into the weekend and even today or later tomorrow, hug somebody. Let them know that you care. Use your words and use your gestures and use your physicality and your physical to just let them know. Use your beautiful spirit to say, hi, how are you? Even before you walk into the door. Send the spirit, your beautiful spirit in first. Take somebody a gift. Take somebody a small flower. Deepak Chopra says, don't go to somebody's house empty-handed. Always take something, even if it's a flower, even if it's a prayer. take some sage. Take something that will make the day better, or that will just take something. Say hello. I love you. Thank you for having me. Take gratitude. Take grace. Take wisdom. Take a prayer. Oh. My name is Anthony Rodriguez, Walking Crow. This is a Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine Show. And as we draw to the end of the show, the end of the hour, once again, I want to thank Reverend Tiffany White, Sage Woman, Aho, for her blessings. And I want to thank all of you for listening. And I want to thank, more than anything, the Spirit World and Creator for allowing me the ability to transcend, transition, transform, and transmute to this point right here, right now, and stand in my root and stand in my fire. Aho! Once again, I thank you. This is the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine Show. My name is Anthony Rodriguez, Walking Crow, and I bid you a happy Thanksgiving. God bless.
Don't miss Cabela's Black Friday weekend sale. Shop for great deals on all your favorite outdoor brands, like $200 off a Vortex Viper 4-16 by 44 rifle scope, 25% off IMI 223 and 5.56 ammo, and $50 off Smith & Wesson Bodyguard pistols. Plus, get a free cooler cart with the purchase of a Cabela's Polar Cap cooler. See store for details. Find great deals for everything on their wish list. Shop in-store or online at Cabela's.com.
You've reached the Old Navy Holiday Happy Helpline. Huge news. Old Navy's Black Friday sale just got extended for one more day. That's right. Get 50% off your entire purchase in stores today. It's Old Navy's biggest sale of the year. Get 50% off every gift on your list. But you better hurry. Today's the last day. Hurry in to save 50% off your entire purchase today. Hang up now and run to Old Navy. Valid 11/26. In stores only. Excludes clearance gift cards, register line items, jewelry, and today only deals.